If you can't eat the fruit off your tree after you spray it, you don't use it.
There's more and more health-related issues that have come up for people as a result of food we eat.
The disastrous consequences of the industrialization of food.
Thought that there had to be a different way to do that.
We're celebrating 40 years of CCOF certification, education, and advocacy, and we're excited about where we've been. We want to remind people of how far we've come, but also how far we have to go, and also the power of working together as an organization and what we can accomplish. CCOF started 40 years ago at a kitchen table here in Santa Cruz County where about 6 farmers got together, and they were talking about how do people know that our food's organic and other food isn't. And they really invented the certification system that we know today.
They're just a bunch of hippies and people of a similar mind that were interested in growing without pesticides and growing organically.
The way we got certified is we all certified each other. In other words, we had rules for inspections, and you would go to someone's house and be the inspector.
That was the way you confirmed that they were in keeping with what kind of materials they were using and whether or not they were doing everything as we deemed it should be organically.
I probably did that for about 3 years, I think. And then after that, they started hiring people to come, and it was a job. It became a job for someone.
And at the core, CCOF always was farmers' organization. So its nature was very colored by the community of farmers that it represented, which included the entire spectrum from your classical hippie farmers, post-hippie farmers, to people who had been in farming families for generations and were absolutely of that culture.
Well, my father was very anti-pesticide, and he never sprayed the cherries ever. That's how I got started in the organic movement, was because people knew I didn't spray the cherries.
How lucky are we that we are growing food in a way that protects the environment, that is feeding people and nurturing people, and it is the healthiest food possible, and it causes no harm.
We were trying to be ambassadors to conventional agriculture and say, there may be a better way to do what you're doing. It wasn't ever about attacking conventional agriculture or other farmers for what they were doing, but trying to offer something better.
It's only because Chadwick practiced a strictly organic approach to food and flour production that he's the one that put it in. There are successful local organic farmers, a number of whom were trained by Chadwick and who took it on as a lifestyle and a lifetime occupation. That was one of the most amazing things, that because of the life-transforming experience that Chadwick transmitted to his apprentices, they in turn then devoted themselves to it for the rest of their lives.
It's in 1973, most agree that Rodale's outreach to the West created the formative moment for the CCOF organization to be founded as a volunteer chapter peer review certification organization.
The board decided they were going to hire a full-time executive director, and Bob responded to the ad. The very first day, he called up and said, I think this is my job.
We interviewed potential candidates. The one that we chose was Bob Scowcroft. He became the first real executive director for CCOF and kind of brought the organization up to official status. He and Mark Lipson were very important in getting the law codified at the state level and then finally helping it move on to the federal.
There was a number of moments where I thought, what am I getting into here? But the esprit de corps and the team, we were immediate compatriots in the revolution that was organic advocacy. Meryl Streep went on the Donahue show. She talked about LR, she talked about why these chemicals should be removed. When he asked her what the answer was, she said, well, I've been doing my own research, and for me personally, the answer is certified organic. I eat nothing but certified organic. And it was like counting down from 10. By the time you got to 1, our phone had blown up. We were known unexpectedly, but we then had the staff to respond professionally. We were in every national newspaper. We were on the evening national news. We were on all the regional channels. And over the next 4 to 6 months, we went from 170 growers to 800 growers. And within that period, decided to write a new state law. No longer could someone throw the word organic on their box or on their label and basically get a verbal slap on the wrist. This time there were penalties, both criminal and financial, if they violated the law. And that started me and us on the path to the National Organic Foods Production Act. So we had sort of a 1-2 punch in really 18 months.
The federal legislation, there were at that time 22 or 24 different organic standards operating in the U.S. There was a need to define for consumers one definition of what organic meant. It just could not have really survived without that.
To me, it's a tale still important to this day that a hardy band of volunteers and a few paid staff changed the nature of agriculture legislatively.
Looking back on what it was like at the very beginning of my work with CCOF and creating the state office, I can't help but look at what the organization is now and what it has become and how many people are working on it and for it and how many farmers it is serving and how globally recognized the CCOF seal is. And that journey to me is very gratifying and astonishing and inspiring because we still have a long way to go. But I mostly think about how in the very beginning we could not have imagined the scope and footprint and success that CCOF and its sister and brother organizations around the country have now.
You know, people come up to me and my peers and talk about how we're heroes and we're the pioneers and we're 4% of the food economy. The real pioneers and the passionate youth and maybe the next generation are the ones that are going to take it to 40, 50, or 60% of the food economy. And I believe that can be done.
Consumers can get organic produce today just about anywhere. They can get it at a roadside farm stand, they can buy it at a farmer's market, they can buy it in a food store on the corner, but they can also buy it in any supermarket chain in America. Organic is everywhere today.
My friends that were farmers, one said to the other, he says, "You think this organic movement's going to go anywhere?" Nah, it's not going anywhere. But yeah, that was funny.